Okay, as you know, I have a dog. That was my dog barking away. I finally got these so that they all fit in here. And I clip on the back side, and that's clipping. There's you're going to see four fabrics here, because that's the two fabrics for the flap and the two others of the outside and the liner. And because the flap goes on inside the center, you drop that in. Remember, I was talking about that. And you're going to sew all along this edge and just up a little bit to the front. I call this two-sided one the front. So the back side is where I have everything. However, I want to put in my tabs, which is going to hold these. So you take this piece and go ahead and sew, turn it into, like you're going to have to sew one side. I usually iron this first, and then you do it 3 times. So it's like this, and then I'll show you what to do next. I'm not ironing, but normally if you iron this, it's way faster and easier to get a nice look. Making a funny noise, I'll stop them down. It's always good to talk to your machine. Looks like it's gathering something. Okay, we'll break down here. See what I did. I must have got a knot tied in there or something. There, I thought. It's okay again. I think something's not quite right on that bottom. Try it again. Anyway, so that's what it'll look like. And then, after you've sewn it, then cut across that black line. So you've got 2, 1 for each side. Here's your snap. This one, since it got tied up on that side, I'm going to make that the inside so it'll never be seen. Like that. Then you're going to go into the inside of your purse. And because this is going to be on, you want it to be on the outside when you flip it. So I'm dropping that in right along that seam line on the side, this seam line, in between the end of all those others, the flap and everything. I'm going to use that little extra space in there to put this tab exactly centered on that seam line. So you can't see it on, you can see here how it's dropped inside. Again, right sides together, so it's in there. And then I'll clip that so that I can sew right across that when I'm sewing. So I'm going to be sewing the tabs with the clips, the flap, the back side, and the back of the front. And then I'm going to put this other tab over here to do with it. Yeah, now I've lost one of them. There it is. Okay. That's what happens when you're trying to go fast. Drop that in on the other side. Same thing, lining it up in the center. Now we'll sew everything except for the front. Those front two we're not sewing. So I'm going to sew everything else. It's a little over halfway that I'm sewing around that top. So my machine works okay. It's quite bulky on that end, so you go slow. Start out before you get into the thickness, so it's got a little momentum. I usually have a little bit of extra sometimes. I think it's when you're putting that liner in there. Probably if you had a bigger inseam when you sew the liner, it might fit in there a little better, but I take up that little extra as a couple small pleats then on the very sides where you're doing also the tabs, and then it still looks really nice. Right across that last tab, and I'm going to go maybe an inch further, double back. And everywhere along there, I'll go ahead and trim that back again, just like I did everything else, just so you don't have the excess. I don't have a lot. I stayed pretty close. I mean, to be on the safe side, if you're not quite sure it's turned out, you might want to flip it inside and out just to look at it before you go trimming off the excess, just in case you had to re-sew something. So that's how it looks right now. It's been sewed all along the back. Here's the front that's still open. Of course, your little flap is still inside. So when I start to turn it inside out, kind of looks like this at first. Here's your opening. You're going to take the liner and then put it back inside, but you're folding it back in, right? And I did put my flap backwards. Well, we're going to have it the other way anyway. Should have known I'd do it that way. That's all right. It's still going to look really cute. So we have this left to sew right here, but we are going to have this side as the flap on the outside. And if I had done it the opposite way, well, then it would have been on the outside. It's still going to look cute, though. Probably put a really cute little old-fashioned button on there or something. And right now, though, we want to finish that front. I don't mind showing you my mistakes. We all make mistakes. Matter of fact, everything I make may have some mistakes. I mean, they're going to have some mistakes. This is where you want to really take your iron, and then as you're pulling this, because you're going to do a top stitch on this part here, that's how you get that lining all in there. But you're still going to have to do your front. So you're going to iron this under on both sides. So you're going to iron them under first and then top stitch them together all the way across. And you could do a nice top stitch if you want. You could have like You know, one of them fancy stitches. Whatever you want to do. For the sake of time again, I'm not using the iron. I'm just pressing with my fingers and doing a crease. Do some little, use my little handy clippers. Those are a great invention. I never liked using the needles. Pins, I mean, not needles. I got a whole bunch of them off of Amazon. Everything's bought off of Amazon, right? I don't really like that either. I mean, I like the convenience, but I like shopping. I don't really get to shop much anymore. That's the way it goes. If you do have to make a little pleat, maybe you've got some excess, make sure it's on the inside of the bag. Okay, that's how it looks now. I'm going to top stitch this. I haven't tried this stitch before. We'll see what happens. Did the kind of fancy stitch and it didn't really, doesn't look that great to me, so I'm going to go, it doesn't get right to the edge where I needed it, so I'm going back over it again with a straight stitch. Okay, so there's the outside of the bag and the inside. You notice some of the lettering came in the bottom of the bag. That's because I didn't give it enough of a hem down the bottom. But I also have my little top, which I won't do it on the video, but I do like to do a fancy stitch around the top of the outer part of your flap. And of course I'll find a really cool looking button or a clasp or something. I don't normally just something heavy on the end. I mean, you can do a button or a clasp sometimes. Some of them I have done that, but on this one I probably won't. Anyway, it looks really cute. I love this color teal. It's easy. It's pretty easy. And it only took us, what, an hour, maybe less, a little less than an hour. Thanks for watching. Sorry about my dog. Would you like to say hi before we go? Carrie? Carrie? Come here. Come here, Carrie. Carrie would like to apologize for barking. See the camera. That's my dog, Carrie. Okay, have a good day. Bye.